You guys curious about Mary?
This is the top 5 times she showed up. So coming in at number 5, Our Lady of Knock, Ireland. On the evening of August 21st, 1879, it was raining in the town of Knock, Ireland.
Now we know it was Ireland, but when he says raining, it was pouring.
And in the middle of that downpour, around 8 p.m., a few villagers saw something incredibly strange happen on the outside walls of the local Catholic church. 3 life-size figures appeared.
Now word got around, and a small group gathered to check it out. There was about 15 people ages 6 to 75, and they all saw the same thing.
The first figure was Mary. She wore a white cloak and a large gold crown on top of her head. She was standing with her eyes towards heaven, holding her hands in prayer, like this.
On her right was St. Joseph, who was dressed in white, and he had his head bowed toward Mary. On her left was St. John the Evangelist, who was wearing a bishop's mitre. In his left hand was a large open book, and he looked like he was preaching.
On St. John's left, a bit farther back from the 3 figures, appeared an altar. On the altar was a lamb, a cross, and angels adoring that lamb. Now the vision lasted about 2 hours, in which people knelt down and prayed the rosary
in the pouring rain. And even though people were completely soaking wet, not a drop of rain fell on the vision for the whole 2 hours. Also, the entire vision was completely silent.
Usually, when Mary shows up, there's some sort of message or something we're supposed to do. But here, nothing. Not a word. The whole time. So, what was the point?
Honestly, we don't really know.
What we do know is that Knock is now a really holy place to visit and pray. Pope John Paul II visited, and so did Pope Francis.
Did Mary just want a place for people to visit, pray, and feel closer to God without having to say anything? Maybe.
All we know is that since 1879, many people have visited Knock and have grown closer to God because of it.
Which could have been the point all along.
Number 4!
So coming in at number 4, Our Lady of the Miraculous Medal. On November 27th, 1830, St. Catherine Labouré, who was a sister of charity in Paris, received a vision of Mary.
At first, Mary appeared as a virgin most powerful. She was dressed in white silk and held a golden ball with a cross in her hands that represented the world. She was offering that golden ball to God in heaven. On her fingers were many rings set with gems, and from those gems came great rays of light.
Mary explained that the rays of light coming from the gems were the graces she gained for those who ask. When Catherine asked why some of the gems didn't give light, Mary said, "Those are the graces by which people forget to ask."
The vision then changed. Mary appeared in an oval frame with her hands outstretched, standing on a globe with a green serpent under her feet. Words appeared around the frame. "O Mary conceived without sin, pray for us who have recourse to thee."
St. Catherine then saw the frame turn, and on the other side she saw a circle of 12 stars surrounding a large letter M surmounted by a cross, and the Sacred Heart of Jesus crowned with thorns, and the Immaculate Heart of Mary pierced with a sword.
Mary then told St. Catherine to take these images to her spiritual director and tell him that they should be put on medals. She said all who wear this will receive great graces. Her spiritual director, well, he was skeptical at first, but after 2 years of observation, he decided it was legit.
2 years. So in 1832, they made 1,500 medals. Within 4 years, they made over 2 million. The medal started being called the Miraculous Medal and had many miracles attributed to it.
Many people claim to be healed from physical injury, disease, and mental illness, and many conversions have come from just wearing it. If there's someone you know who you wish would care more about their faith and be converted to it,
get them a Miraculous Medal. If you want great graces in your own life,
get yourself a Miraculous Medal. So coming in at number 3, Our Lady of Fatima. From May 13th to October 13th, 1917, the Blessed Mother appeared 6 times in Fatima, Portugal, to 3 shepherd children, Lucia, Jacinta, and Francisco.
For the first time on May 13th, the children saw a lady more brilliant than the sun. She was dressed in gold and white and held a rosary. She asked them to pray the rosary every day for peace to the world and end to the war.
Later, Jacinta told her family, and her mother didn't believe her. Her mother then told the neighbor as a joke, and within a day, the whole village knew. Over the next few months, thousands of people came to Fatima hearing about the visions.
Government officials who were atheists actually took them to jail, threatening them to admit that they were lying. They didn't back down. Eventually, they were let go. Mary told them there would be a miracle when she appeared on October 13th.
Some newspapers reported this, and so a huge crowd came. Some say between 30,000 and 100,000 people. What happened that day became known as the miracle of the sun.
It had been raining heavily, so much so that the ground was completely covered in mud, and people's clothes were soaking wet. But when Mary appeared to the children, the sun came out, but it looked different. Witnesses said it looked like a silver spinning disc that cast radiant and multicolored lights all over the ground.
Then it appeared to speed towards Earth, then zigzag or dance back to its normal position. Witnesses said that their wet clothes became suddenly and completely dry, and the super muddy ground became completely dry as well.
No one else saw the lady except for Lucia, Jacinta, and Francisco. but thousands saw the sun dance in the sky and didn't have an explanation for it. This last time the lady appeared, Lucia asked what her name was, and she replied, "I am the Lady of the Rosary."
So pretty clearly Mary. There's really a lot more that happened at Fatima, and we're only giving you a super brief account. But if there's one message to take away from Fatima, it's the power of prayer, especially the Rosary.
Number 2, Our Lady of Lourdes. From February 11th to July 16th, 1858, Mary appeared 18 times to a 14-year-old peasant girl, Bernadette Subaru.
The first time, Bernadette was collecting firewood near a cave when she saw a lady dressed in white, wearing a blue sash with a yellow rose on each foot. The lady had a white rosary with a yellow chain. The lady then asked Bernadette to pray the rosary with her.
When Bernadette's parents heard her story, they thought she was lying and whooped her.
Still, Bernadette continued to go to the grotto and visit the lady.
People heard about it, and even though they didn't see anything, they would go to the grotto with her. At one point, the lady asked Bernadette if she would drink from the fountain and bathe in it. There was only one problem.
There wasn't a fountain.
Just dry ground.
So Bernadette began to dig with her hands and saw the ground was becoming a little wet. So she scooped up the wet mud water, drank it, and washed her face with it. Since, the lady said drink and bathe.
But other people there didn't know what was going on, thought she was crazy. I mean, it looked like she was just eating the mud and rubbing her face in it.
Clearly not someone you believe about St. Mary. Even though she looked crazy,
she obeyed the lady anyway.
The next day,
water was trickling.
The day after,
became a clean stream.
Stream now
puts out 27,000 gallons per day. Facts. And it's the reason why millions of people travel to Lourdes over the years. Many people are miraculously healed by drinking and bathing in the water at Lourdes, just like the lady told Bernadette.
Now, the lady never told Bernadette her exact name, but when Bernadette asked, she said, "I'm the Immaculate Conception." So clearly,
Mary.
After the last time she saw Mary at the grotto, Bernadette joined the Sisters of Charity and dedicated her life to Mary. She died at only 34 years old, and her body is still incorrupt to this day.
Lourdes is one of the most visited Marian shrines in the whole world, having 4 to 6 million pilgrims each year. People are still healed by its water to this day.
So coming in at number 1, Our Lady of Guadalupe. From December 9th to 12th, 1531, our Blessed Mother appeared to a peasant named Juan Diego. On the morning of December 9th, Juan Diego saw a vision of a young woman at Tepeyac Hill near Mexico City.
The woman appeared pregnant and was dressed like an Aztec princess. She spoke to Juan Diego in his native Aztec language. She said she was the Virgin Mary, the mother of the true God.
She asked Juan Diego for a church to be built at that site in her honor. So Juan Diego, being obedient, visits the Archbishop. Tells him what happened. Well, not surprisingly, the Archbishop was not amused.
Eventually, he tells Juan Diego to ask her for a miraculous sign. Ye of little faith.
So Mary tells Juan Diego that she will give him a sign the next day on December 11th.
But on December 11th, Juan Diego doesn't show. He stands up Mary.
Seriously?
Okay, the real reason was his uncle was sick and Juan Diego was taking care of him.
You don't stand up Mary.
Then on December 12th, his uncle looked like he was going to die. So Juan Diego goes out to get a priest, but doesn't want to be delayed with talking with Mary. And honestly, he was embarrassed from standing her up the day before.
You don't stand up the Queen.
So he chose a different route to avoid Tepeyac Hill. But Mary appears to him anyway.
Ha! So Mary asks, "Hey, Juan, where are you going?"
Which would be kind of awkward if you think about it.
I mean, first you stand her up.
Then you're avoiding her.
She's mother of true God and all.
Not the best situation.
So Juan Diego does his best to explain about his uncle. And Mary's like, "Why don't you ask my help?" And Juan Diego's like, basically, she tells him his uncle has made a full recovery and he should get flowers from the top of Tepeyac Hill and bring them to the Archbishop.
Now this was a miracle in itself, because the hill never had flowers grow on it, especially in the dead of winter. And not only that, the flowers Juan Diego finds are Castilian roses.
Castilian roses aren't native to Mexico at all.
But there they were.
So Mary puts the flowers in Juan Diego's tilma,
his cloak,
and tells him not to open it until he sees the Archbishop. When he opens it in front of the Archbishop, the flowers fall out, and on the tilma was a miraculous image of Mary, Our Lady of Guadalupe.
Aztec princess and all.
And the Archbishop was like,
"Yep, we're doing this."
And 9 million Aztecs were converted in 7 years. There's some other incredibly cool facts that science can't explain about the tilma,
which can be seen to this day in the Basilica in Mexico City.
Here's a couple of them. First, it still exists. Juan Diego's tilma was made of cactus fiber.
Bit prickly if you ask me.
Which disintegrates in 60 years max.
But it hasn't at all.
And we're getting close to 500 years.
Second, there was a study done zooming in at a 2,500 times magnification. And in Mary's eyes, there's a reflection of 13 people, including Juan Diego and the Archbishop. It appears to be a snapshot of the exact moment the tilma was unfurled and the flowers fell out.
How was that painted?
Third, the stars on the mantle show the real constellation that was in the night sky on that very same day, December 12th, 1531.
Fourth, the tilma hasn't been destroyed by nitric acid or by dynamite. The acid was spilled in it by accident in 1785, but the image self-restored over the next 30 days. In 1921, 29 sticks of dynamite were hidden in front of the tomb.
They destroyed the marble altar rail, the windows, and bent the brass crucifix.
But the flimsy cactus fiber in the glass case?
They remained unharmed.
There you have it, guys. Comment below what you think the top 5 should have been. In the meantime,
Follow us here, subscribe here.
like, share, it really helps us out.
See you guys.
Perk up.
You ready for
Perk
this?
up. Perk.
Centered.
Centered.
Front and center.
All good. No guy more.
You always say to the...
So coming in at number 4, Our Lady of the Miraculous Medal.
Yes!
So,
Just me going
Yeah,
into it.
so, you know,
So
coming in
I'll
number
just
4.
start at this
Yeah,
one.
no,
So coming in at number 4, Our Lady of the Miraculous Medal.
And Florida
On the night of
Medal.
November
Yes,
27th,
yes, yes, yes.
1830. 1830! St.
Catherine of
Catherine.
Wateray! Oh, shoot, we need actually
How do
another lap. Confidence.
Confidence is key. Here we go.
right. Each take, you kind of have the same reaction.
I don't know what to do.
On her left stood St. John the Evangelist. I don't know why I'm getting these.
You're fine. I don't know what my line is.